I think I read a note the other day that the month of April was the worst month for stocks since 2008.
Wow.
So things have definitely changed.
This is the Gold Standard from Midas Gold Group with Kenneth Russo. Hello, I'm Dave Deno. Welcome to the Gold Standard, your source for secure investment opinion and information on the advantages of purchasing and owning precious metals. Whether you're a novice investor or an experienced collector, this is the program that gives you a realistic weekly perspective on the state of the economy, reliable information about using precious metals such as gold, silver, and platinum to safeguard your wealth, and remarkable details about specific precious metal coins and bullion. Ken Russo is a senior vice president at Midas Gold Group. His peers characterize him as a straight shooter who will work harder for you than anyone else. Ken, it is a pleasure to join you again this week.
Always a pleasure to be with you as well, Dave.
Our topic today, Ken, is one that we have alluded to in almost every program, but we've never really taken an extensive look at Gold IRAs. But before we get to that, we promise at the top of the program to look at current financial issues that affect the value of our investments and our retirement funds. And I saw a recent article that tracked food prices worldwide inflated at 33%, one-third higher. And within that figure, some of the categories like meat, fish, and poultry were threatening a 50% price increase.
Yeah, and prices are inflating. When the government prints money out of thin air, David, prices inflate with the threat of hyperinflation. And on the other hand, markets are starting to deflate, meaning the stock markets are going down, the bond markets are going down, and real estate probably is not that far behind. But think about, all of your utilities, all of your bills increasing by, 30%. Imagine checking out at the grocery store and, what a year ago might have cost $100 now costs over $130,
Wow.
realistically, and everybody is facing that. Inflation is a tax, on the middle class. It's shocking. Our money is not maintaining its value. And that's what people need to understand. And when we talk about the Gold IRA, we're talking about our retirement funds. And how do those retirement funds keep their value and keep their purchasing power? So sometime in the future, when we need it, it will be enough and it'll be there. And that's kind of, what we're going to be talking about a little bit today.
Yeah, how does our money keep its value? I think I know the answer to that. I think you've got it for me.
Yeah, well, an important part of that, I mean, and what we specialize in is gold. I'm sure that there's a lot of smart people out there, and they may have a bunch of different ways to do it, but our specialty is physical gold, physical silver, something that's a tangible asset that traditionally, like gold, Dave, has held its value when currency loses value. And I'll give you a very telling example of this. In 1971, our U.S. currency was taken off of the gold standard. Everybody probably remembers when Richard Nixon did this for the benefit of the dollar, and that was temporary. And we started a fiat currency and a fiat currency experiment throughout the world, where all of these currencies were allowed to freely float against one another, backed by nothing. Okay, and 50 years later, these currencies that used to be backed by gold, which was put on a gold standard and eliminated the gold standard temporarily. 50 years later, we're still on that temporary status, believe it or not. And that dollar bill in your wallet, Dave, since 1971, can only buy about 14 cents worth of stuff compared to what it could buy back then versus today. So, put it another way. What would have cost you $100 in 1971 cost you more than $700 for the same product today.
Wow.
And that's what we're trying to protect ourselves from, and from going even crazier or spiraling more out of control than that, which we've seen in other parts of the world before. Governments just can't print money indefinitely, without limit, without care. spending like drunken sailors forever, this will have consequences. So the question is how could you protect what you've saved in a retirement account? How could you protect what you have in a savings account or just in cash reserves when out of control inflation is possible and probably more than likely?
Okay, what would have cost $100 in 1971 would cost more than $700 today for the same product. Can you compare that to gold over the same period?
Well, gold in 1971 was about $35 per ounce, and gold today is close to $1,900 per ounce.
Mm.
So as you can see, that has kept up with inflation. Think of gold as money, Dave. Let's not think of gold as, well, I could have bought a tremendous stock, or I could have bought tremendous real estate, or I could have, yeah, sure, you could have, and you could have also put some money into those things, and they could have went to zero too. But what I would tell you is gold. Think of it as money. Think of it as a way to protect your purchasing power in a time of inflation, in a time of possible hyperinflation, and in a time when our markets are starting to melt down, and in a time when it's absolutely necessary, where we need to protect our purchasing power, not only in our cash reserves, but also in our retirement accounts. So gold over the last 50 years has done far better than the dollar. The dollar has lost about 97% of its value against gold in the last 50 years.
A reminder here that you're listening to the Gold Standard with Ken Russo from Midas Gold Group, and today our topic is Gold IRAs. So let's begin with a few basics so that we are all on the same page as we walk through this. First, what is a Gold IRA?
Well, individual retirement account, everybody has a, traditional IRA, Roth IRA, or they might have an old retirement account from a previous employer, or a current, retirement account that they contribute to. So it's a nest egg that we're hoping will be there for us in the future. Now, typically these IRAs are invested in annuities and mutual funds and common stock and bonds, and all of these markets are taking a huge hit and set up to lose a lot more value over the next few months to few years. But a gold IRA, Dave, is simply a retirement account or an IRA that contains physical precious metals like gold, silver, and platinum. And these can be bars or coins. Okay. So basically, if you're an IRA holder, you've been allowed to use these funds for your IRA to purchase gold and silver since 1998, and that's due to the Taxpayer Relief Act of 1997. And this act expanded the investment options for IRAs beyond just paper assets. Now, remember what we talk about. Diversification outside of paper assets right now is extremely important. If you have stocks and bonds and annuities and CDs and money markets, you are not diversified. Okay, I don't care what the advisor says, what the banker says, what your stockbroker says. Those are all just ways to keep your funds invested in-house and to keep your funds connected to the banking system. To have true wealth preservation with diversification, you need something outside of paper. I mean, how straightforward is that? So your gold IRA can be funded, Dave, with gold by rolling over funds from a current IRA. If you have a traditional IRA or a Roth or a SEP or different types of IRAs, or an old 401k. Maybe you had an employer that you worked with for 10 or 20 years, and maybe you left there or retired, and you may want to roll over some of that account to gold and silver so that you can diversify and get some money out of the markets. Especially if you're a little afraid of what is coming down the road, and any cash that you might have, or any money markets in your IRAs, which coincidentally are now called government money market reserves, which is a little concerning. And you can do a rollover, Dave, tax free. You can do a transfer tax free.
I like that.
And you can stock your IRA with gold bars and gold coins and silver and platinum, and we'll educate clients on the different options that they would have. So the main difference is, instead of being totally invested in your retirement in paper, you can diversify your retirement accounts to a degree in physical, tangible assets that, no matter what happens with inflation, no matter what happens with the markets, it will be there when you need it. And based on track records, it should be at least valued at what you put into it, and there's a pretty good chance that it will be valued at much, much more sometime down the road.
Okay, kind of skipping ahead then. We're talking about a subject that most people know very little about. How does a person get started? How do you help them?
Well, the easiest thing to do is to call a specialist. Give us a call here at Midas Gold Group, and typically a client will share their IRA statement, or they'll share their retirement account statement from their previous employer. And first of all, let's see if it's able to be rolled over or able to be transferred. So that starts with a conversation. Don't be afraid to make that call. Don't be afraid to want to protect your nest egg. Don't be afraid to try and, think about something or learn about something that's a little bit outside the box. I mean, knowledge is power. So give us a call. We'll walk you through it. We'll see if your IRA is eligible to be rolled over or transferred. And we'll let you know. It's a pretty easy process. We can do a conference call with your existing customer service representative for your IRA or for your retirement 401k or account, and see what their process is to do a transfer or a rollover. There could be a form involved. There could be a transfer form that we help a client fill out. We will then help them fill out and start a new self-directed IRA, so that there's a place for those funds to transfer to, David, tax-free. And once those funds are transferred to their new IRA, then we talk to them about precious metals, which ones qualify, which ones are available, which ones are reasonably priced, which ones offer safety, which ones offer upside. You can take delivery of these precious metals someday by doing a distribution, a little at a time or all at once. So it's a good way to not only protect your retirement funds, but it's a great way to stockpile gold, silver, and other precious metals using your retirement account. Stockpile in precious metals, and you don't have to come out of pocket and use any of your cash, especially if you need that cash for living expenses or emergencies.
I love the fact that this is a tax-free transfer, number one. I also love the fact that you will walk us through the process. I'm not on my own. I don't have to figure this out. I have your guidance and your expertise, number one, to answer my questions, and number two, to facilitate the process. I really appreciate that. You're listening to The Gold Standard with Ken Russo from Midas Gold Group, and today our topic is Gold IRAs. Ken, later in the program, I'm going to ask you how the gold in my Gold IRA is stored and safeguarded. But first, in a moment, we're going to take a look at a specific precious metal that you can choose for your Gold IRA. And that's coming up right after this.
Sebastian Gorka here. The Biden-Harris administration is governing through an unprecedented number of executive orders. We have a good idea of what their agenda means for the country and for your finances. More debt, more regulations, slower growth, and higher taxes. There's even talk of a digital wallet currency and a so-called Great Reset. With massive new spending programs, the Fed is printing money even faster than before. This will likely cause the dollar to fall and gold prices to rise. That's why it's never been more important to own physical gold and silver, and the dealer I trust to do business with is veteran-owned Midas Gold Group. The experts at Midas Gold can even help you convert a portion of your IRA into physical gold and silver to stabilize your portfolio against the coming storm. Call Midas Gold Group for their guide to owning bullion and coins today. 855-322-GOLD. That's 855-322-4653 or MidasGoldGroup.com.
And we're back with more of The Gold Standard, brought to you by Midas Gold Group with Ken Russo. I'm Dave Deno. Our topic today is Gold IRAs. By the way, if you live in the Los Angeles or Phoenix area, we encourage you to visit our local office to meet with us in person. For the address and directions, just log on to our website, MidasGoldGroup.com, MIDAS, MidasGoldGroup.com. For those of you listening in other cities, call us directly at 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-GOLD. By the numbers 855-322-4653. Can we now turn our attention to a specific gold product, one that qualifies for a Gold IRA, And when I say qualified, not all gold is eligible for a gold IRA, right?
Yeah, that's correct, Dave. Based on IRA, IRS regulations for IRAs, there are certain products that qualify for the Gold IRA. Most of it has to do with the purity of the gold or the silver or the platinum. It has to be of a very high purity product, which would be IRA qualifiable. And the product that we're talking about today, the Gold Canadian Maple Leaf, Dave, is exactly one of these products.
What is it that makes this particular coin such a popular choice for gold IRAs?
It's a 24 karat gold, which for sure meets the purity aspect of a gold IRA. It's considered bullion, so that qualifies. There aren't any collectibles that are allowed in a gold IRA, so you can't have any of the pre-33 coins like some of we've talked about on the show, like the St. Gaudens or the Liberty or the Indian or the Morgan silver dollar. Those are not allowed. But the gold Canadian Maple Leaf is a bullion coin that's definitely qualified. It's from the Royal Canadian Mint. It's recognized as one of the finest gold bullion products in the world, Dave. It could even boast the title of one of the most popular bullion coins in the world, next to, I would say, the Gold Eagle for sure.
As you hold, then, a gold Canadian Maple Leaf in your hand, can you maybe give us a description of what it looks like?
Yeah, really sharp looking coin, Dave. Real easy to describe the beauty of it. The standard gold Canadian Maple Leaf weighs just over 1 troy ounce. It's a little bit smaller in diameter than some of the other gold coins, which means that it's a little thicker than maybe some of the other ones. The front of the coin pictures depicts Queen Elizabeth II. It's a very nice rendering of her likeness over the years. They've had some different portraits. I think they've had either 3 or 4 different images of Queen Elizabeth on the gold maple leaf. The back of the coin features the iconic Canadian maple leaf symbol, which is the national symbol of Canada. It is just a beautiful coin. It's a product that will give you the benefits of what gold is supposed to be: a store of value and a medium of exchange, and something that's tangible that you could hold on to. And it's a very high quality product. And this particular version of the gold maple leaf has many counterfeiting technologies on it, so that it makes the counterfeiting of the Canadian gold maple leaf, almost impossible. Not that that's an issue at Midas Gold Group, because we do individually test every single precious metal that comes in and out of our office, and clients are welcome to come on in if they have any questions regarding their own precious metals, as I know a lot of other precious metal dealers do not provide that sort of service, David.
And our listeners, they can call you and they can talk with you more about buying or funding a gold IRA than with the gold Canadian Maple Leaf coin, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the coins that's eligible for a gold IRA, but we're more than happy to advise and suggest to prospective buyers on whether this coin or, different products are a proper fit in their investment portfolio, whether that be personally, with non-qualified funds or with qualified funds that turn into a gold IRA. Midas Gold Group is a direct distributor of the Canadian Royal Mint products. We will always deliver pristine quality mint products, David, that have tremendous quality, and they offer tremendous savings. So, clients could definitely count on us to do those basic things for them.
And I can say an amen to that, because you do that very thing for me as well. Ken, thank you. Coming up in a moment, we're going to continue looking at gold IRAs with Ken Russo from Midas Gold Group. It's coming up right after this.
I'm here with Midas Gold Group senior trader and Marine Corps veteran James Clark. James, why are people investing in gold and silver?
Well, Dr. Gorka, the Federal Reserve supplies money to pay for congressional spending. As Congress expands spending, the Fed has no choice but to keep printing money at an accelerated rate. This causes the dollar to fall and gold to increase.
So as the Fed and Congress devalue the dollar, what can people do?
As the nation's #1 veteran-owned precious metals dealer, we offer diversification strategies in the form of precious metals. As Congress looks to the Fed for more money, investors look to gold and silver to protect their nest egg.
And I recommend that you look to Midas Gold Group for all your precious metal needs. Call Midas Gold Group for their guide to owning bullion and coins today. 855-322-GOLD. That's 855-322-4653 or MidasGoldGroup.com.
And we're back with more of the Gold Standard, brought to you by Midas Gold Group with Ken Russo. I'm Dave Deno, and our topic today is Gold IRAs. Now, if you happen to live in the Los Angeles or the Phoenix area, we actually have physical offices in those areas. So we encourage you to come and visit us at our local office to meet with us in person. For the address and directions, just log on to our website, MidasGoldGroup.com. That's MidasGoldGroup.com, MIDAS. For those of you listening in other cities, call us directly at 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-GOLD. By the numbers, that's 855-322-4653. Now, back to our topic of gold IRAs. Ken, how does a gold IRA work as far as storage of the physical gold?
Well, there's IRS-approved facilities throughout the country, Dave, that that house and store gold IRA precious metals. These are all approved facilities that have the right amount of insurance, and they've been doing this for a very, very long time. So we help our clients with custodian help for their physical gold, for their silver, for their platinum. There's several of them that we work with. You know, the physical gold that you buy for your gold IRA is stored away for you safely at one of these secure sites. You could have access to it, as needs arise. You can go see it, go visit it, go touch it if you call them up and, arrange that sort of thing. But most people take delivery of their precious metals when it comes time to do, distributions from their IRA, either a little at a time, which is called a required minimum distribution, or, a full distribution where they can take all of the assets out of their IRA. And remember, it's not a different IRA rule for a gold IRA. You can take all of the money out of your IRA. You can take all of the precious metals out of your IRA. The only thing you have to be aware of is when you do that, it's a retirement account. So the IRS is there and they have their hand out, and you have to put that on your tax form the following year, and you would have a potential tax liability because of the withdrawal from your IRA. But it's physical precious metals, David. It's real. It exists. It's collecting dust there until you decide to take it out. And in this particular environment where stocks are crashing and so volatile and bonds are horrific, I think I read a note the other day that the month of April was the worst month for stocks since 2008.
Wow.
So things have definitely changed. And for those people out there that are nervous about protecting their retirement accounts, for those retirement accounts to not be there for when they need it, or to be, significantly of a less value that it is today, and they're looking for different ways to protect them, and they're looking for different ways to diversify, I would say the Gold IRA with Midas Gold Group would be a perfect way to start protecting those funds today.
I got to tell you, that's the reason why, that kind of guidance is why I personally own gold from Midas Gold Group. Ken, thank you so much.
My pleasure, Dave. Enjoyed talking to you today.
That is going to bring us to the end of our time together today here on the Gold Standard with Ken Russo, brought to you by Midas Gold Group. A reminder, opinions given here are not intended to be specific to your investment strategy, but rather general information to give you a better understanding of investing in precious metals. For answers to your questions, call Midas Gold Group at 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-GOLD. By the numbers 855-322-4653. And the website is MidasGoldGroup.com, MIDAS, MidasGoldGroup.com. The Midas Gold Group is proud to be America's #1 veteran-owned gold dealer, supporting veterans' causes with a portion of profits donated to the Wounded Warriors Project and the Semper Fi Fund. So your investment in your future is also an investment in the future of those who have bravely served the cause of freedom. Again, the number to call to speak directly with Midas Gold Group is 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-GOLD. Ken, thank you for your time again today.
Until next time, Dave, be good.
I certainly will be. Thank you, Ken. I'm Dave Deno. Come and join us again next week at the same time for another edition of The Gold Standard.
The Gold Standard was brought to you by the Midas Gold Group.